Hello. Hello and welcome. My name is Petra. I'm in Stonington, Connecticut with my lovely daughter,
Natasha.
Together, we call ourselves Knit Inc. And we sporadically podcast.
Yes, I have one
Excuse
from
me.
August. I wonder if I will have edited that and put it up, or if I'm just going to do this one. I don't know. I haven't looked at the August one since we recorded it.
Okay.
So maybe I'll go and look at editing it and then decide if it's worth posting. So maybe you've seen one before this that is retroactively being posted. Or maybe this is what you're seeing now. Yeah, it's been, I think we've been wanting to podcast more frequently, but it's just life, which I'm sure you understand. So thank you, everyone, for your patience. We're still here. We still love knitting. We still love all of you, and we still love this community.
Yes.
So thank you for returning, and welcome if you're a new viewer. I started a new job. I was contract a little bit in September and officially started mid-October. We said it's Saturday. Did we say the date?
No, we didn't.
It's Saturday, November 23rd, the Saturday before Thanksgiving.
If you're living in the U.S.
Yep, and we have a nice view of water here at this rental house that you can see if I focus there, and a little bit of the fall foliage still left. But I'll do that for you to see our faces a little bit better. So fall has happened.
Yeah.
Back to school has happened.
Thanksgiving is around the corner.
Thanksgiving is happening.
Advent is fast approaching.
Rapidly approaching.
It's Nackney Swimo month, and I'm not participating.
You have a bag of yarn ready for your November sweater. Maybe you
and
can
a pattern picked out.
Maybe it can be your Dacne Swimo December. Oh no,
knit a sweater in November. Nackney Swimo.
Nackney Swee duh for December. Right?
Maybe. But as you'll see when we get into it, I have a lot of started projects.
Yeah.
And then something goes wrong and I pause them.
Yeah.
But I have one FO that I can show, and then I have one FO that I gave away. How many FOs do you have, Natasha?
I honestly can't actually count them because there's quite a few. But if I
you've been very productive.
If I group them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll call it 5, but then there's 2 groupings of things.
Oh, wow. Intriguing.
Yeah, intriguing.
So you know what? Let's just launch into the knitting, and then if we have time, we'll talk a little bit about life stuff. Little Mateo is taking a nap at the moment, so we have a limited free time. So I'm gonna start. I'm wearing a sweater that I finished before Rhinebeck last year. It's the Cathedral, and we don't have any notes, any of Natasha's hand.
I didn't do any lettering for this because it felt like a barrier. I was like, let's just get started.
But this is the sweater.
Let's make it big.
Okay.
There you go.
There's the sweater. It's really a lovely.
And here's the sweater.
And here's the sweater. And it's a really gorgeous pattern, and it's by
Let me zoom it back out for you.
Claudia. I have a really hard time pronouncing her name.
Quintanilla?
Quintanilla, yes, from UKnit Toronto. And I talked about this sweater last year. She kindly sent me this yarn, and it's like a dusky rose, and it's really beautiful yarn. And I wore it to Rhinebeck last year and met the designer, which was really lovely. So the yarn
Rhinebeck happened for those that went to Rhinebeck.
Rhinebeck happened, yeah. So the yarn is Amelia and Philomena Leona, and it's a fingering and mohair. It's like the the new classic fingering and mohair held together. And the colorway is Eugenia. And it's just a really luxurious yarn. I'm going to stand
It's so
up.
nice. And it survived the dry cleaner horror.
Which we talked about in the previous episode, which may or may not.
Which may or may not be up.
I don't want to dwell on it, but it has shrunk a little bit. but mostly what I've noticed is it's a little shorter, but I think somewhere I have a little bit of leftover yarn, so if I ever get that back, I will make it a little bit longer. So it's I made it with much more positive ease than it is right now, but I feel like I could still wear it, and I might reblock it a little differently. It's one of these sweaters that's very light and warm. But so I've been enjoying wearing it. It finally got cooler here in New England. We had an amazing dry Indian summer, and finally we got rain, and it's been kind of gray and cozy for the last couple of days. So that's what I'm wearing. Last year's finished object. Natasha, what are you wearing?
So this you guys never even saw as a whip. I cast it on at some point this summer. The yarn is from Angie. Thank you, Angie. This was the Neighborhood Fiber Co. yarn. So this is the color Mark Bradford. I don't know who Mark Bradford is.
We should Google him.
I guess maybe he likes mint chocolate chip, because that's what John said this yarn looks like.
It does have a little bit of...
So Angie said 4 skeins of Neighborhood Fiber yarn to us, 3 of this mint chocolate chip color and 1 of this color. And I think it was meant to be done... what's that pattern that was really popular with the color work here? That was kind
with Boylan Knitworks.
The Zag?
Something like that.
So,
yes.
Because the pattern was included.
Yes.
But I wasn't feeling that pattern. I didn't want to do anything color work because I need something that has a little bit of interest, but that I can put down and pick up really easily with a toddler running around, because I knit in, sometimes in
short bursts.
2-minute bursts.
Fringe, they call that fringe
Yes,
knitting.
my fringe time is very valuable. All my time is valuable.
All our time is
All
valuable.
our time is valuable. Anyway, so that's the yarn I used, and the pattern is the Brooklyn Raglan Light by Tori Yu. And I looked up this pattern specifically to use this yarn with, and I liked that it had this split hem. And it's sort of scalloped. So here's the pattern, and it's just stockinette body, and then it's got a textured sleeve, which is done with knit 1, purl 1, knit, and then you do the opposite. I don't know what kind of stitch that's called. Is it called seed stitch?
Oh, maybe. I really like it. Yeah, this is gorgeous yarn. Thank you, Angie. Seed stitch. It's not quite moss stitch. Moss stitch is a little different.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was gonna be right at the edge with 3 skeins. So I did helical knitting pretty much throughout. You can see there is still a little bit of pooling, but it's kind of modeled with the yarn. I love how it came out though. There's little pops of like pink and purple, which I think you can kind of see there. And I love how it's so soft and cozy. I did like some yarn management where I did the yoke, split for the sleeves, kept going on the body until I ran out of one of the skeins. Then I did the sleeves, and then was just kind of using the rest of the yarn for the body. And I thought I was going to be a little bit closer than I was, but I ended up with just this left over.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
So
Natasha.
I could have made it a little longer, but I
okay.
didn't. But I was kind of happy with the length. Like I had enough to keep going.
Yeah.
And my sleeves are fine. It is super wash, so I was keeping that in mind. It would grow just a little bit, but it didn't grow that much, honestly. I think it was what size needles? I used the size needles that the pattern suggested. So 2.5 for the ribbing and size 4 for the body.
That's US sizes.
US sizes. And I think it took about 4 months, which isn't that crazy for me these days. I used to knit one in 4 weeks, but so I'm really happy, and it's great to be wearing that. So that's my most
recent finished object.
It's the biggest.
It's the biggest one. Okay, it's the biggest one. Okay.
It's the one that's the most exciting in terms of attire.
Okay.
Anything else I need to say about it? I didn't really adjust anything from the pattern. It was nice and straightforward.
Nice. It feels nice to be wearing a brand new.
Yeah, it's really
sweater,
it
right?
feels really good, the superwash. It doesn't feel like this, even though it's superwash, it doesn't feel for lack of a better word, cheap. Like it doesn't feel like it's gonna stretch, and it does still have some bounce and shape to it, which I think that doesn't always happen with superwash yarn.
Yeah, so it depends, but it's a good quality yarn.
It's really good quality yarn for sure. It's really nice. Yeah.
Okay, I will.
Do you want to do another FL?
Yeah. So I made a pair of socks. And I think I talked about it in the episode that may or may not come out. For just a vanilla pair of socks, and I do have a knitting pattern that I put together, toe up with a gusset and heel flap socks. I know there's a gazillion recipes and patterns out there. So I made these socks, and this is also yarn from Angie. Thank you. So one of our really, really sweet viewers, and we did meet Angie last year at Rhinebeck, sent us a huge box of yarn earlier this summer.
Which, if we did post, I'll have to post August one, because
I think you will.
We talked about it in that episode.
Maybe even if it's abbreviated or not very well edited, you can just bear with us. So these socks are made for my excellent physiotherapist. I broke my shoulder in February, and it's much better now, but I still don't have 100% function, but I'm working on it anyway. So I made these for my physical therapist guy, and these were just a really nice easy portable project for me to work on. So that's an FO, and then the other FO, I'm just going to talk about it now because I don't have it, but Natasha will hopefully insert a picture here, is a dress that I made for my great niece, and I also used some yarn from Angie, and then I added some yarn that I had to make this little dress for basically a age 2 or so little girl, and it is called the Little Sister pattern. I've made it before actually, and it's a really cute pattern.
Oh yeah, that is really cute.
So it's a Scandinavian designer,
Tora Froseth.
That's the name of the designer, and the pattern is called Little Sister. And I think that it goes for many ages, but it's like a little pinafore.
And it can become like a shirt as the child grows,
It can be like a tunic,
a dress to a tunic.
So I made it quite long because, once children get to this toddler's age, they just shoot up. They don't really get that much wider. So hopefully she will have it for a while. And yeah, that's all my finished objects.
Okay,
so
well,
over
here
to you,
I go.
Natasha.
I'll start with the least exciting, which I did. This is my Ninst hat, which I've shown this pattern before. This was supposed to be for my friend. She had a baby in April. This was supposed to be for the big brother, and this is supposed to be for the little sister. But Mateo I'll put in a couple pictures. He has discovered where we keep the hand knit hats, and he loves wearing hats and loves putting them on, and he loves putting this one on, and it fits him really well. So Mateo's going to keep this one. I have an end to weave in. But
he was wearing it today.
He loves, it's really cute. So I'm going to let him keep this, and I'm still going to I don't know, I think this will stretch big enough for the little sister still. So that's a whip, another one of these. It's just 2x2 rib, and I've done it. The Ninst hat is just for up to 1 year. So I just increase, and it's a free pattern, I just increase the stitch count for older kids. But I like doing a ribbing for kids' hats, even though it takes a little bit longer, because it has a little more forgiveness with size.
Right, and they might even be able to wear it for 2 seasons.
Right, and I've been making them longer so that they can have like a wide brim, and that also has some flexibility.
That's a great idea. And this yarn you're using up, this was from your aunt, right?
Right, my Auntie Joanne, my dad's sister, yarn that she got in Norway.
Yeah,
so
it's the Viking
Yeah.
sock yarn, something like that. Oh, that's great, Natasha.
So that's that. And so since we've seen you all, I should say, I have to think about what to do with this skein.
It's a gorgeous melon color.
Yeah. So the leftover that would have been with this. Anyway, so I had done that. I think I had shown the punch needle kit that I got in the summer, and I have figured out how to hang that. I have that on my wall, but I had a bunch of leftover yarn from it. So I made some pumpkins. This is the largest one, and then I have a medium and a small.
Very cute.
And I looked at some free patterns. Let's see. So this, how do I go back to my projects?
While you're looking for that, I've been watching.
I didn't make a project page for this. I have to go to my Knit Companion.
I'm back to watching podcasts, and I can't remember. I watched somebody new, and they made some knitted pumpkins too, and put cinnamon sticks in.
Oh, I saw that. That's cute.
Instead of this, so then you get the nice aroma in the fall.
That's cute.
It's a nice idea.
How do you attach them?
I think you must just have a hole, and you just push them in.
Oh, you don't.
Instead of knitting the stalk, you just have a hole. You must have a hole here somehow, so they're just pushed in. Yeah, and I watched Knitting Traditions, and I think she made some pumpkins too. She didn't have the cinnamon. I can't remember who had the cinnamon stick, but it's a really lovely idea. Yeah, these are so nice.
So this is the pattern.
Oh, I know who it was. The Knitty Stew, I think. I love her.
Oh, you know what? This pattern has cinnamon sticks in it.
There you go.
I just didn't do that. There you could do this pattern in the round or flat. I did it in the round, and the way you do it, you have purl where your
the ridges
are, and then you use the yarn to kind of you wrap it tightly. So you can see there's a strand of yarn right here. And that cinches it in, and you wrap it around those purl marks and pull it in, and that you
gives
can maybe
it that
see
gorgeous shape.
You can see it here.
Very clever.
So yeah, and then I used a different pattern because I didn't have cinnamon sticks, and I wanted to use up some of the green yarn. I used a different pattern. It's just an I-cord that you then attach for the pumpkins. So I made these. Mateo loved throwing these around.
I can imagine.
Okay, and then I also made a bunch of leaves.
Oh, yes.
So
I've got my little leaf.
So I counted that as one of my 5
finished
objects. So this is also a free pattern called Fall Leaves by Bobby Intveld. And there were 3 types of leaves. There was an oak leaf, a birch leaf, and a maple leaf. So I just used a bunch of scraps. And I don't even remember how many I made. So I've given a few away.
I have one, and my mom has one, I think.
And sometimes I was using yarn single. A lot of times I was holding it stranded. The maple leaves hang really weird. I had these hanging on a branch in my living room. The maple leaves didn't hang. They started to hang like this. So I want to figure out a different way to hang them for next year.
Or maybe you need to block them, or maybe you need to starch them. Maybe starch, Natasha. Although
this one's really floppy.
Oh yeah, this one, because of the glitter, is not so floppy.
Yeah.
All right, I'll continue to hold them up. A lot of leaves. This is great. Did you enjoy?
I liked the oak ones.
Fun?
Yeah, I could do one in like half an hour.
Uh-huh.
Maybe even less. Maybe honestly, it might have been only 15 minutes. And I did a bunch of them in September. Oh, let's see how floppy this maple leaf is.
Oh yeah.
I think it's the way the stem is.
Right. Yeah, it needs to be redesigned, I think.
So the maple leaves aren't my favorite because of that. Okay, there's one more. So I honestly used I meant to bring my scraps down. I honestly used the tiniest scraps. Even if it was just let me see if I have any small.
You just added. That's a wonderful way.
Even if it was even smaller amounts than this, I would just hold them double, or sometimes there was even I was holding some triple, and
it's a great way of using up. And then where did you get this ribbon?
This is is it cotton yarn from Knit Collage.
Oh, okay.
It's
like
fabric
made from
yarn.
saris or scarves
exactly.
or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So those are my leaves and my pumpkins, and I will put them away for next fall. But they were fun to work on.
Very nice.
And yeah, I think I gave like at least 3 or 4 of the leaves away, so I made quite a few. I didn't even count them. I was gonna count them then, but I didn't.
You got into a rhythm with them.
Yeah. It was kind of like fun to just keep using the scraps.
Oh yeah, I can totally relate to that. Yes.
And then I have one gnome that I finished. I started this gnome, I think in like the beginning of the summer. I had this idea I was going to make all these gnomes as gifts for people and start working on them in the summer. Well, I made the hat in the summer and then went on to other things. So I just finished this guy this week. So he's from Sarah Shira, I think is her last name, Imagine Landscapes. Mm-hmm. This is just, this was actually the Natasha gnome, Gnata. She
of
does
course,
it.
yeah.
And this is comes in a 3-pack of ones. There's a large one, Natasha is a small one that sits, and then there's an ornament version. So the one that sits has the flat bottom, but the ornament has a rounder bottom. And I put some marbles in. And Mateo has been liking the gnomes. He's associating them with Santa now. So he sees this and he goes, ho, ho, ho. And it's pretty cute.
That is pretty cute.
So
you should insert that.
Those are my FOs. Yeah.
It looks like you've been having fun with these FOs.
Yeah. And then I really just have like one set of whips and then some ideas for what's
Dream
next.
knitting?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have, let me think, I have 4 whips.
Wow.
And one dream knitting, which is my November sweater, which may be my January sweater now.
Why are you skipping December?
Oh, because I might just get into Advent. I may or may not, get into Advent, because we have those mittens. If we manage to do another podcast before the end of the year, we'll talk about the mittens, which we've talked about last year.
Oh, yeah. And the Christmas balls that I was working on.
Oh, yeah, you were working on the Christmas balls.
Yeah.
The only Advent I signed up for this year is a tea Advent. And I sent a lot of people in my family Advents this year. I just really love having something little to open. So I sent my mom a tea Advent, and I think she was really touched by it and surprised. And I also sent my sister a Lego Advent.
And I ordered myself a Weebles one, the crochet one.
There's so many different Advents. I bought Anna a popcorn Advent, and you bought your dad a jam.
I didn't get anything for John.
Well, there's still time.
There's still time.
Yeah, maybe we'll think about what he might enjoy. Maybe straight up chocolate. It used to be chocolate.
Right.
My parents always made my sister and I Advent, because I'm originally from the Czech Republic, and in Central Europe, Advent was really big.
Yeah.
But when we lived in England, nobody was doing Advents. So my parents would make us an Advent, and they would hang these, if you're from England, the Quality Streets chocolates, and we could open one up every day.
Yeah, the chocolate ones are good.
All right, so I'm going to start with one of my whips, which I started a while ago and then put down. And this is a whip for a baby girl, and it's knitting for Olive, a little kind of wrap cardigan, which I will show you on my Knit Companion. So it's just a little wrap cardigan by Knitting for Olive. And I'm using this fun stripy sock yarn, which also came from Angie. Thank you, Angie.
Angie's
you can see
made our stash.
She made the stash. So, and I'm using it and I'm loving it. So this is just, I just have to knit straight for quite a while, and it's just fun to see how this sock yarn is striping. And I think it's going to be really cute for a little girl.
Yeah, that is really cute.
So that's one of my whips.
Cool. I only have one other thing to talk about.
Should I talk about another one?
So go again.
I'm going to talk about a disaster that I'm going to unravel. Another skein of yarn from my stash from Angie. This is the Musselburgh sweater by Isolde. Hat. Sorry. You know what? It's big enough for a sweater. It's the Musselburgh hat.
Or Musselburgh.
Musselburgh.
Yeah, Musselburgh.
Totally got this wrong. By Isolde Teague. It's an older pattern. A lot of people have made it. You basically knit one long tube. You start at the crown and you increase, and then at the end you decrease. And it's, did I say it's more sock yarn from Angie?
Yeah.
And then the idea is that you hold it double. You kind of feed it in, and it's a double-sided hat. And if you have you can also make a brim, so it'll be really really warm. And I was making this for my physical therapy assistant, who's a really great guy. He's a surfer dude, and these guys have just been so amazing with my shoulder. So I wanted to give him this hat, but it is huge.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I think
even for a man, because you need negative ease for a hat, right?
This is just really big.
And I'm sure you've all had these moments where you know something is either going to be too big or too small, but instead of stopping, you keep going because you think somehow by some miracle it'll work out.
This is this is the width of the hat is literally my torso.
And it's not the fault of the pattern. It's completely me. I cast on the crown, and I felt like I figured out. So the pattern is supposed to work for any yarn, any gauge. And any giant. I started with the crown, and I think I was going to make adult medium. So it's for this sweet guy called Will. He doesn't have a particularly huge head. But when I was working on the crown, and you're supposed to stop, I don't know, about here, it's hard to tell. I thought, this looks like it's going to be far too small. I'm just going to do a few more increases.
You probably did like 10 more increases.
And so then I showed Natasha yesterday, and I said, okay, I'm gonna rip it out. But then I decided to wait till today.
I said, well, let's film something tomorrow and just show everyone what this looks like.
So, but it's been meditative knitting, and so I'm gonna rip it out and work on it again. I just have this little nugget, so I've basically knit through 100 grams of sock yarn. But, it's the process. So that's one disaster work in progress, which I will, this is how much I have left of the 100 grams.
So you're basically ready to decrease.
I'm ready to, but according to the pattern, it's not long enough.
Probably because it's so wide.
Because it's so wide. So I'm just going to rip out to the crown and trust the pattern.
Yeah.
And and I'm going to do that adult medium. And so that's a whip.
Nice.
Well, do you want to talk about
Sure.
something?
So my new job, the company logo is a hexagon, and it's a small company. It's a small marketing ad agency. So I decided to make some Christmas ornaments for the full-time folks. So I don't have to make too many, but so I'm using still the leftover yarn from the punch needle kit. So I looked up the Hexi-Puff pattern. The thing is, the Hexi-Puff pattern has you cast on a flat side of the hexagon, but I wanted to cast on the point because I'm gonna double knit the name of the company as a logo here, and I wanted to have that align with the knit stitches rather than double knitting along the other way.
The rows, that would be.
Yeah. So I just kind of made up a little. I used this website called Stitch Fiddle, where I could make a grid. I'm just gonna quickly flash it. So I could make a grid and figure out the letters and how many stitches I needed to do. So I just cast off 5. So I had enough to do 2 solid red, which is our main color. Okay. But then I'm just doing other colors.
You're just using what you have.
Yeah, so
which
I've
is
done
great.
a blue one. I had to do a little nugget of the blue here because I ran out.
Love it. I love
And
how
then-
you use up everything, Natasha.
And then a green one. And then I just finished, this one is double-sided. One side's blue, one side's green. And I think I'm gonna unpick this one and use, it's on the ground, but I think I have enough to do this second half dark blue.
Oh, I see.
And then I have some pink left. And I can't decide if I'm going to use that'll be enough for one half. I can't decide if I'll use the pink to try and do the double knit with, or if I'll use white yarn, which I'll have to look at my stash to see what white yarn. So, yeah, I'm making these, and I think I'll be able to finish these soon. I'm on a kick, so.
So you've knitted how many?
I've done 5.
5.
But I'm going to unpick this one and do the second half
In
blue,
the
because
dark
I don't
blue.
like this little nugget. I think I'm just going to unpick to here.
Okay, that's a good idea, yeah. And then
because it's a little nicer. Now that I've done this one that's half and half, I think it's nicer.
And
I just thought I was going to be able to finish this one.
I see.
But maybe, you know what I could do is,
The seaming, right?
I could make the width a little bit narrower, and then I think I'd have enough.
Oh, there you go. You could.
But I
just
started
fudge it.
blocking this one. I might just fudge it and make this one totally blue. That's what I'll do. But it's wet because I started blocking it, so it needs to
okay.
dry, and then I'll unpick it.
And you have all the stuffing.
I do. I ordered some polyfill.
Okay.
I have it because of my
Your
gnomes and
right.
my Christmas balls. So for me, I'm going to work on these. I have the Weebles Advent to do, which is like a whole holiday scene. I will do the gnome along. I have to buy the pattern for that. And I'll do some Christmas balls. So and I kind of want to cast on a sweater for Mateo.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to go into I'm in full holiday knitting
That's
mode.
nice. I'm not ready yet. What kind of yarn do you know what yarn is needed for the gnome along this year?
No, I haven't even looked, but I'm just going to use, I have every year I have this bag that I throw in. I have like holiday colors of fingering, so
okay.
I just
use.
use what I have randomly in here.
I see.
And like last year, I think we needed a little yellow, so this is still left over in there.
It was orange that we needed.
Orange, yeah. So,
I'm just debating whether I should do the gnome
I
along.
have a random mitten in here.
Oh,
Looks
yeah,
like I need to do another mitten.
You were making those little stockings and mittens and things as a garland a few years ago to hang up.
Yeah. So I have like a little random hat in here too.
Very cute. An extra gnome hat.
And an extra gnome hat. So yeah, I'll pull from there, see if there's a specific color needed, I'll raid some scraps.
I did do the gnome along last year, and I did enjoy it. One of our friends, Sarah, and her mom did it too locally. I'm just trying to decide if I should do it, if I have yarn that would work. I should just focus on the mittens. I think that's what I'm going to do.
Oh yeah, we need to get those done because we need to use them.
Yeah. Okay, so I started a new FO last night.
A new FO? A new whip?
A new whip, sorry. I started a new whip last night, which is a sweater for little Mateo. It's his birthday in December 12th. And it's a project that's not using yarn from Angie.
We almost did.
We almost did, yeah. So my little local knitting group, we have an annual yarn swap, and we did a yarn swap this week. And I picked out this yarn, which I thought would be a sweater for Mateo. I got 2 skeins of this. It's discontinued. It's from a company I'd never heard of before, Cloudborne Fibers. And it's merino and baby alpaca, 80% superwash merino and baby alpaca. I keep getting fluff. I think that's from what I'm wearing. Anyway, it has 4 or 5 blues that are very wide strips, and I caked up one of the balls yesterday, and I found this pattern. It's also knitting for Olive. It's this sweater. It's called the dots. It's called the kids dot sweater.
It's so cute.
And I thought all these different shades of blue would be really great for the dots. And I found some of this gray. It's called Greige, and it's an old Madeline Tosh I had in my stash that I was using for my Ariana cardigan, which is still an ongoing thing. It's been almost a year. I started it after I broke my shoulder. That's been a saga that I'll talk about next. But anyway, so this is going to be the neutral color, and I'm holding, it's fingering weight yarn, 2 skeins held together. This is a little bit thicker than the sport weight is going to be alone for the color pops, but I think it'll be fine. So it's top down. This is going to be...
That'll kind of make it like a honeycomb kind of thing.
Yeah. It's going to be a folded over neck?
Brim?
Brim. Neckband.
Neckline?
So it's going to be... So I'm just at the point now where I'm going to start my first color. They're calling it... what's that Scottish term when you're Fair Isle knitting? Yeah, they're referring to this as Fair Isle knitting. Yeah, Fair Isle technique. So I'm looking forward to... it was late last night, so I knew I had to pause and not start the complicated colors. So this is going to be a quick, fun knit, I hope. And I am knitting... so far it's age 4 actually. Mateo's going to be 2. We'll see. Hopefully this isn't going to go the way of the Musselburgh. And then I only have really one more project to talk about, and I might save my dream knitting, which is also yarn from Angie, until our next episode, because I don't have it here.
Oh, okay.
And I haven't done anything except for caked up 2 skeins and chosen a pattern and the yarn and got some needles. And it's all in one bag.
That's
ready to go.
That's a good...
All the thinking part has been done.
Yeah,
I just need to cast on, but I really, really want to finish this cardigan, which I think I've talked about every single episode of the 2 or 3 that we've released this year. There is progress. This basket was from Angie too. This episode should be just dedicated to Angie.
Yeah.
And my local knitting people who have been helping me out with this Ariana cardigan. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's made out of really big granny squares, but I'm making mine out of small granny squares, and I keep getting stuck. Yeah. So is there anything you want to talk about before I talk about this?
I don't think so. I think I've mostly covered my stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So this is probably the 3rd-ish attempt. I had so I'm making all these little granny squares, and I used a lot of my own leftover stash, and then I needed more, and I kept buying minis and so on. And there's been quite a few people that have knitted locally, people that go to my local yarn shop, and they were passing around a bag of leftovers, so they kind of pre-sorted it for blues and purples for me.
That's cute.
It's really cute, and I had that for about a month, so I then made more squares out of that. And so then it's a very clever technique. So this is a free pattern where you join the squares together as you crochet the last round of the granny squares. So you start joining bottom up, and this is a bit of a mess because I've got 2 ends. And that, do you mind holding that one end?
Sure.
That goes pretty easily. You
do like the body part.
The body part as you're wrapping around. And then, but then you, when you start on the sleeve, this is where
smells really nice, like a balm.
Oh, you know why? Because my hands have been so dry. I've been using this Lolo Bar lotion for my hands.
It's like lemon balm.
So now this smells of it, because I've been working on this a lot, and I keep unpicking and redoing. So I've been on the sleeve. This is the sleeve, and one of my issues is how to adjust it so I have the width up here, but I don't want the wide sleeve here. I want to be able
Right.
to decrease it, and you're basically joining these granny squares on a diagonal. So I'm going to go to my yarn store tomorrow, and Cindy, the owner, has made one out of these small squares, but she didn't join hers by doing the final crochet as you join. She finished her granny squares and then just kind of whipped them all together. So she pinned all hers out. Anyway, I'm sure when I hoping when I see her finished cardigan tomorrow that I'll be able to figure out how to do this sleeve. So I think I have enough granny squares made. It's just a matter of getting the sleeves right and then joining the back, and then afterwards you do what do you call this border? You know, you do cuffs,
The
you do
button
a collar,
band,
button band.
But
Yeah,
you're not buttons. It'll be
you
the-
could make button. You
the-
can make
the
buttonholes.
band.
Yeah, the band. And I'm undecided on how I'm going to do that. There's a part of me that thinks that I might just do a crochet edge because I might not even be buttoning it. But I'll cross that bridge when I
Get the
come to
sleeves
it. Get
sorted.
the sleeves sorted. And I just bought some new grey yarn. I was originally using
the yarn you're using for Mateo's
the-
sweater.
but I only had 100 grams of this, and when I unpicked it, I had short bursts because you have to break the yarn after doing 2 rows, and I didn't want to be doing a lot of joining, and I wanted to support my local yarn shop, so I just bought 3.
And that has like a purple tint to it too.
Yeah,
It's
this
nice.
is called Pearl. It's Malabrigo fingering sock yarn, I think. And over the years, I've used this colorway Pearl in different weights for many things. It's just a really nice gray.
It is a really
It's
nice
kind of
gray.
a nice warm gray. I'm on my second skein already. It's
wow.
nice not to have to worry about running out. And then I'll use this to do, all the finishing.
Yeah.
So I really want to finish this. I really want to be able to wear it. I'm like picturing myself with a black turtleneck, black pants, and this for Christmas.
That's a good
my-
manifestation.
That's my dream. And then I'll be released to make other things because I have not finished a single sweater for myself
Oh
this year.
wow.
I may have done one in January. No,
What about that red thing you were working on?
that was last year's November sweater.
No, the red thing you were working on in the summer.
That ended up being a disaster. I never finished it.
Oh,
my
okay.
linen. I need to redo that. That's
Okay.
in timeout. So I think that's it for knitting. We're looking forward to some family time for Thanksgiving. Anna, my younger daughter, Natasha's sister, is flying. Well, she's in New York this weekend. She lives in Chicago. She's coming by train on Monday evening. We're just going to have a family and a couple of friends, with good food and wine and some walks, nothing too, maybe a little bit of Black Friday shopping. Just looking forward to a quiet, cozy
Some time
time.
off. I'm looking forward to some time
The
off.
kids are looking forward to time off work.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to some time with sweet little Mateo.
So I hope
And
that
yeah.
hopefully I get this up before Thanksgiving. Hope
Oh, yeah.
all of you in the U.S. enjoy some time off with loved ones, friends, and family, and are getting into the holiday spirit. And maybe we'll film again in 2024. Let's try.
Let's
We're
try.
gonna try.
We
We
always
try.
have really good intentions.
Yeah.
And I do hope that you're finding time to do something that brings you joy in these stressful times that we're living in.
Yeah.
Happy knitting and lots of love. Bye.
Bye.